Hi, welcome to another Warhammer Fantasy 8th edition battle report. This is Warriors of Chaos versus Ogres, 2,500 points, and it's just a straightforward battle line. I'll put the army lists in the video description as usual, but I'll just go over what's deployed, starting with my Warriors of Chaos at the bottom. Actually, I'll borrow them from my opponent. But at the bottom, just out the shot, on the far left-hand side would be a Daemon Prince. Then 3 Skullcrushers, 28 warriors with great weapons and Mark of Nurgle, Exalted Hero BSB in that unit, Throgg and 5 trolls, a spawn, 6 warhounds, level 4 sorcerer on disc with Chaos Familiar and the 4+ ward and third eye of Tzeentch, and a Hellcannon on the hill. At the top of the board is my opponent's recently purchased Ogre army. And we have a Ironblaster on the hill, a Sabretooth in front of it, a Gut Star I believe it's called, as the main unit, with I think it's 9 Ironguts, Bruiser, Slaughtermaster and Champion. Then we've got 6 Ogres by the looks of it, with a Firebelly, 3 Leadbelchers, a Stonehorn, another Sabretooth, a giant, and on the far right hand side is 4 Mournfang. I finished deploying first and I got the first turn. I've moved up the Daemon Prince out from behind the rock, and I've got the charm shield so I can weather a turn of shooting from that Ironblaster. And the Skullcrushers and the warriors are just going full tilt to the centre of the board. And over on this side, the trolls and warrior unit wouldn't fit through the gap in the middle of the board, so rather than having one of the units get stuck behind the other, I decided to send the trolls off round to this flank to hopefully see off the threats of the Stonehorn and giant. And my sorcerer is positioned so that he can see the monsters and also the Mournfang. In my magic phase it was 7 power dice to 5 dispel dice, but my opponent channeled with both of his dice, which I don't think I've seen happen before, so it's actually 7 each. I started off with a cheap blue fire, I think it's called, just a basic magic missile against the Sabretusk or Sabretooth, whatever it's called. I just wanted to get rid of it. I could see that it could potentially get in the way of some of my units if I didn't deal with it, and I figured it'd be fairly easy to kill. I've got 6 strength 4 hits, and here's my wound roll. Unfortunately the damn thing's got 2 wounds, so it's not dead. Much better luck against the Mournfangs though. I got through Infernal Gateway. I think I irresistible forced it and didn't really suffer any bad effects from that. I killed 1, and they've only got average leadership I think, and they panicked. Fortunately for my opponent, even with their swift stride they didn't flee very far, so they're knocked off the board. Hellcannon aimed for the Ironblaster, scattered off and just killed an Irongut and caused 2 wounds to the unit as well. Ogre's turn 1 then. So the main body of the Ogre army doesn't really move much, they just sort of shuffle around. The Ironblaster moves back so that it's a long way for my Daemon Prince to charge, too far to attempt I think, and you can get a shot at him. I've got a Sabretusk coming in front, with the wounded Sabretusk coming in front of the warriors. There was another Sabretusk somewhere. Oh, I think that's gone in front of the Skullcrushers, and then the Sabretusk in the middle there. You can see it's got a green counter. That's to indicate it has a regen 6+, because it passed its toughness test for Warp Flame after I hit it with a spell last turn. Stonehorn hangs back a bit, and Giant comes forward to attack the dogs, and the Mournfang rally. And Ogres have a pretty good magic phase. They just buff up the Irongut unit. I think they get +1 toughness and the 4+ regen. I don't do very well at dispelling them, but I'm not too worried about that at this stage. And the Ironblaster does fire at the Daemon Prince, and I use my charm shield. Warriors turn 2. So on this side of the board, the Skullcrushers charge the redirecting Sabretusk. Basically I don't have anything over there to get rid of it really. I'm just going to have to take that one on the chin. And the Daemon Prince I put him into the Irongut unit. It's too far to charge the Ironblaster. I don't want to take another turn of shooting from it. And also, if I don't hold up that Irongut unit, they're going to have a pretty easy flank charge onto my Skullcrushers after my overrun. And I think he's going to be able to hold that unit up for a while. He's got 1+ save, Mark of Nurgle, and obviously he's unbreakable. So I'm not too worried about that. I think he'll be alright just delaying them. Don't really care if he dies too much. He's not a wizard, he's not that expensive. My warrior unit charges the Sabretusk, which flees through the Leadbelchers. And over here, my spawn with its random movement manages to just about make it into the giant. The dogs fail their march tests, so they can't move very far. I want to get them more towards the Stonehorn, but they can't move very far. And my wizard is still, I still want him over there to take out the Mournfang again. I think they're only leadership 7, so even if I can just kill one, it's a good chance they'll panic again and go off the board. Or maybe to kill the Stonehorn. Magic, I don't have a good phase. I think I just failed to cast a spell. Shooting, the Hellcannon scatters off the Ironblaster. And this shot is after combat. The Skullcrushers have overrun. You can see the Ironblaster has a nice shot down the entire length of the unit now next turn. The Daemon Prince kills a champion in a challenge. And the spawn, I think the giant yells and balls at the spawn, so the combat is just a draw. Ogres turn 2. The Stonehorn charges into Throgg and his trolls. He moves the the Leadbelchers up as a sort of redirector against the warrior unit. The Sabretusk rallies, and the Firebelly unit is still just hanging back. In the magic phase, he gets a buff off on the Irongut unit. And in shooting, the Leadbelchers get tons of shots and they kill 4 warriors. Ugh. But of course, the unit I'm dreading is the Ironblaster, which is probably going to obliterate the entire unit of Skullcrushers. He gets a good shot and it goes through all of them, but it has to kill each one before it can move on to the next. But it looks like the Chaos Gods have other plans in mind, and the cannonball fails to wound the first Skullcrusher, and the unit is saved. In combat, the Stonehorn kills a troll with its impact hits and does 2 wounds to Throgg with its attacks. In return, Throgg causes a wound with his breath weapon, meaning it has 5 wounds remaining, and then with his 5 attacks, he hits with all of them, wounds with all of them, and kills it outright on the spot. Over here, the Bruiser steps up and challenges the Daemon Prince. I then use the breath weapon against him. I think I did give him a breath weapon, I used it at some point. But even that combined with my strength 7 attacks, I can only do 3 wounds to him, so he's still alive. But he doesn't do any wounds to the Daemon Prince, mostly thanks to the fact he's hitting on 5+ due to the Mark of Nurgle. Warriors turn 3 now. Oh, this is a frustrating turn of events here. First of all, the Hellcannon fails its rampage test, goes forward a bunch of inches. I think it stops an inch away from the trolls. We initially thought it would attack them, but we couldn't find anything about that in the rules. So it just stops behind them. The trolls are obviously going to charge the giant, but even with Throgg there, they failed their stupidity test. So they just stumble forward. They can't get into combat with him, even if they roll high. They just sort of stumble about. The warriors go into the Leadbelchers, and out of shot, obviously, the Skullcrushers just turn around. I've also moved my level 4 on disc up so that he can see both the Ironblaster and the Sabretusk. I'm actually quite concerned about the Sabretusk because if I kill the Leadbelchers and reformed to face the face the Firebelly unit. If he doesn't want to fight me yet, he can use that Sabretusk to redirect me again, and it's going to be extremely annoying because I need to get that expensive combat unit stuck into something. I don't want that Sabretusk holding me up for a turn, so even though it's only a cheap little unit, I really need to kill it. And also, hopefully I can kill the Ironblaster. The Mournfang are kind of out of the game for a little bit at the moment, since I held them up earlier on. And you can see the Warhounds in this shot haven't moved, but I do move them later. In the magic phase, I do manage to kill the Sabretusk with Blue Fire Tzeentch. I try to 6 dice Infernal Gateway on the Ironblaster, but I don't even manage to meet the casting value of the spell. It's only 16 plus, and there's my roll there. In combat, the Daemon Prince finishes off the Bruiser, and the warriors kill all the Leadbelchers in combat, although not before losing 3 of their own number, and they reform to face the Firebelly's unit. Ogres turn 3. The Firebelly and his cohort of 6 ogres charge into my warrior unit. I'm not worried about that at all. Just think they might kill a few warriors with impact hits, and they will attack before me, but they're just going to get obliterated in return. That's not even going to be a contest there. The Giant charges the Trolls, and the Mournfang charge the Warhounds, who you can see in this picture now. In the previous turn I had moved them up to delay the Mournfang further. In the magic phase, unfortunately, I'm unable to stop a bubble regen spell going off, which hits the Ironguts, the Firebelly's unit, and the Ironblaster. I think I just rolled all my dice and just rolled really poorly. I don't know if I've used my dispel scroll yet. It may be irresistible forced it then, but I know I couldn't stop it anyway. The Ironblaster took a shot at the Skullcrushers, rolled fine on the first roll, and then it gets to roll 2 artillery dice on the bounce, and you take the best one. Something to do with it being some kind of special cannon, I don't know. And unfortunately my opponent uttered the ill-fated words just as the dice were leaving his hand, that as long as he didn't roll 2 misfires he'd be fine, and that's exactly what he did. So the Ironblaster has done nothing so far this game. So on to combat. Obviously the Mournfang destroy the Warhounds and reform. The Giant rolls Thump with Club. I think it's the one that does 2d6 wounds or something if you fail an initiative test, and he directs that at Throgg and kills him. However, the Trolls, in their fury at their king being killed before them, they inflict 4 wounds onto the Giant, but he sticks because he's stubborn leadership 10. The Daemon Prince, looks like I've killed another 2 ogres this round. I'm not sure, because he's got regen up, I think. Yeah, he's got regen on that unit, because it's a bubble regen. I don't know how I've killed 2. Maybe one of them was badly wounded or something. So I'm definitely grinding through that unit. There's only 5 Ironguts and the Slaughtermaster left now. And the Slaughtermaster's at the back because he keeps refusing the challenges. And here's what the combat with the Firebelly unit and the warriors looks like at the end of combat. Oh my god. My unit's dead. Basically, yeah, my opponent was actually pretty confident of doing well against them and winning, which I just didn't see it coming at all. I just thought there'd be a pushover, and obviously the regen was probably what tipped it too far in the Ogre's favour. I think I ended up losing combat by 4 and breaking, and they caught me. I think I only fled like 4 inches as well. Yeah, it's the regen really that saved quite a few wounds, I think. If it wasn't for that, I might still have lost, but I probably would have stuck and killed them next turn. Also, I didn't really think about the Firebelly. He has a breath weapon, and that accounted for a few warriors as well. I mean, the Firebelly is actually the only model in the entire range with an actual breath weapon effect sculpted onto him, and I still didn't think about that. Warriors turn 4. The Skullcrushers try to get a charge off onto the Ironguts. That actually be in the front, so only one would be in combat, but they fail the charge anyway. I bring my Sorcerer back to be close to the Mournfang. He's got a breath weapon spell. I figure if I need to just do a wound, it'd be good to be close to them in case I need to use that. I've also got a couple of magic missiles. And the Hellcannon passes its rampage test this time and looks at the Mournfang. Magic is just ineffectual. I either fail to cast Infernal Gateway on the Mournfang, or I think possibly my opponent now finally uses his Dispel Scroll. So nothing happens there. The Trolls kill the Giant though. They don't take any wounds, and they just take his last couple of wounds. And I guess the Hellcannon, I don't know, I guess it doesn't do anything, it just scatters off. Over here, I think Daemon Prince has his first bad round. It doesn't look like he's done any wounds, so yeah, doesn't take any there. Ogres turn 4. The Firebelly unit gets off a flank charge onto the Hellcannon. The Mournfangs try a frontal charge but onto the Hellcannon, but they fail, fortunately. In the magic phase, the Slaughtermaster obviously decides it's time to finally be done with this pesky Daemon Prince, and he gets off +1 strength onto the unit, making them now strength 7, and a buff. It's either the regen again or possibly toughness. And in combat, that strength 7 does prove to give them just enough bite now to finally damage the Daemon Prince, who takes 3 wounds and does 2 in return. So those Skullcrushers might just be a bit too late to actually help him out. And the Ogres against the Hellcannon, though, they're a bit crap because they're only wounding on 6s. And I think the Firebelly has got a great weapon, so he's strength 6, but he just misses with his attacks anyway. The Hellcannon's unbreakable, and it does 2 wounds to the Firebelly, I think. I don't think he'd taken any before, so it's not bad in combat. Weapon skill 5, strength 5, and it's unbreakable, and it reforms to face them next turn. Warriors turn 5. The Skullcrushers finally make their charge into the Ironguts, and because they'd advanced a bit from the failed charge, they actually ended up in the flank of the unit now, which is quite handy. The Trolls would just love to charge those Mournfang. Oh god, they would love to charge the Mournfang. But of course they're leadership 4, and they fail their stupidity test, and just stand there like idiots. Yeah, thanks guys. All is not lost though, as my Sorcerer, with his extremely deadly, potent Tzeentch magic, is by the flank of the Mournfang, and I mean, come on, he's been pretty lackluster so far, but I'm sure he can now finish off those Mournfang once and for all. So just to soften them up a bit, he starts with a 2 dice blue fire of Tzeentch, which is a 5+ spell, so 2 dice that, and then we'll move on to something better. So he takes aim and summons his magical energies, and idiot. Hellcannon combat, do another wound to the Firebelly and take 1 in return. And over here I finally lose the Daemon Prince, but do a ton of wounds with the Skullcrushers, and the unit breaks and I chase him down and overrun into this position, and oh look what's again staring down the flank of my Skullcrushers. But that Irongut unit with the Slaughtermaster and everything, that was a ton of points, so that makes me feel a bit better about losing the warriors earlier on. Ogres turn 5, the Mournfang get off a charge into the flank of the Hellcannon, and the Ironblaster actually charges the flank of the Skullcrushers, which I thought was, yeah, I probably would have done that actually, because if it shoots them, it's probably not going to kill all of them. It might kill 1, possibly 2. It's unlikely to kill all 3 because you've got to roll 3+ on multiple wounds for all of them after wounding all of them. But with a charge in the flank, impact hits and everything, probably a good chance of beating them and running them down. But it's not to be, unfortunately, for the Ogres. It does win combat, so I lose frenzy, but I stick and reform to face it. I don't think it's done any wounds. I don't know if that's just poor wound rolls, or I might have just rolled well on armour saves. But over here, the Mournfang and the Ogres unsurprisingly managed to finish off the Hellcannon and are now looking to wipe out the last of the trolls as well next turn. So now it's my last turn. I know it's going to be pretty close. We've both lost a lot of points and both lost our big main units as well. I'm pretty sure at this stage that if I lose those trolls, I'll probably lose the game. So really I need to take out those Mournfang. I'm not as worried about the Ogres. I think the Firebelly's unit. I think the trolls stand a chance against them, whereas if the Mournfang get a charge off, I'm finished. So I mean, the Sorcerer comes around. He's just been crap so far. I mean, I think he failed to cast Infernal Gateway twice. He failed Blue Fire on 2 dice. Other than panicking the Mournfang at the start of the game, he hasn't really done anything. I guess that's the problem when you just take one spellcaster. But he's got to do something this time, surely. Well, he finally casts Infernal Gateway onto the Mournfang, and he leaves 1 left with 1 wound remaining. But it's not so bad, I guess. Basically, I won't get the points for the Mournfang now, but he won't want to give me the points for them, so he's not going to charge them into the trolls. So I guess Tzeentch maybe answer my prayers, not quite the way I was expecting, but I'll take that. I mean, the trolls might now survive. And in combat, the Skullcrushers kill the Ironblaster. Ogre's turn 6. He doesn't charge either of the units. I think he's not confident enough in the Firebelly's unit finishing off the trolls. I think the Firebelly has flaming attacks, but because it's got a great weapon, here you'll go last, and the trolls will still get their regen against the Ogre's attacks. Also, I guess he doesn't want to lose the Firebelly and lose the points for him and risk that whole unit as well. So he just I think he casts the big fireball magic missile at the trolls, just hoping for some sort of extraordinary result, but he doesn't get many hits, so he can't kill the unit. So the game ends there. So here's how it looks at the end. I've still got my Skullcrushers, the trolls, and my level 4 sorcerer. He still has his Firebelly, his Ogres, and technically the unit of Mournfangs, although there's just 1 wounded one left. But he still gets the points, keeps the points for them. So we totaled up the victory points, and Warriors of Chaos scored 1,966 points, and Ogres scored 1,838, so Warriors just about eke out a victory. We had a lot of fun playing this battle, 2 brutal close combat armies going head to head, and it was certainly a bloodbath as well. Really, I think if the Ironblaster hadn't charged at the end, the Ogres would have got a draw. So that was a risky move. It could have paid off and it could have led them to victory, but unfortunately it didn't. It's nice to face Ogres. I think I've only played them once before. They're pretty entertaining, and they're sort of a different sort of combat army to Warriors as well, so it's quite interesting to see how they fared against them. So that's it. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.